Hello and welcome to this video. We were continuing the second chapter of your geography, that is agriculture. In last video we discussed about the major food crops of India and we were continuing the types of cropping. And in this video we will discuss about the major non-food crop of India and some technical reforms which enable the Indian farmers to produce more. Non food crops means those crops which are not meant for direct consumption. We cannot use them as food. Rather, they are produced in order to send to industries as raw material, and after their processing, we can consume the final output. So, non food crops are generally raw materials kind which are grown for industrial purpose and for commercial purpose and not for consumption, like castor seeds, cotton, jute, etc. These are the example of non-food crops. In non-food crops, we will first discuss about the production of rubber. Rubber is an equatorial crop which require equatorial kind of climate for their growth, but it can be grown in tropical and subtropical areas. If we will take some specific steps, we can grow rubber in tropical and subtropical areas also. Although rubber is an equatorial crop, under some specific condition, it can be grown in tropical and subtropical areas as well. It required moist and humid climate with rainfall of more than 200 cm per annum, and it required temperature above 25 degrees centigrade. Rubber is an important industrial raw material. It is mainly grown in areas like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, along with Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Next important non-food crop is fiber crop like cotton, jute, hemp, silk, etc. These are called fiber crops. The first three, that means the cotton, jute, and hemp, are derived from the crops grown in the soil, but the silk grown from the cocoon of silkworm which fed on green leaves and especially the leaves of mulberry. The silkworm cultivation, which is also called sericulture, we produce silk by sericulture. The cotton, jute, and hemp are directly cultivated on the soil, but the silk is extracted from the cocoon of silkworm, and the silkworm generally fed upon mulberry leaves. The cultivation of silkworm or the rearing of silkworm is called sericulture. Among all these fiber crops, first we will discuss about cotton in detail. India is believed to be the original home of cotton plant. Cotton is one of the main raw material for cotton textile industry. Obviously, for cotton textile industry, cotton is the raw material. From cotton, we can generate thread, then we can dye them, and then we can change them into textile or garment. So, cotton is the main raw material for textile industry. In 2016, India was second largest producer of cotton after China. Cotton grows well in drier parts of black cotton soil, mainly which is available in India in the Deccan Plateau area. It requires high temperature, light rainfall or light irrigation with 210 frost-free days with bright sunshine for its growth. Because frost will decay the cotton, so for its maturation it required more than 210 days of frost free climate and a good sunshine for its ripening. It is a kharif crop which requires 6 to 8 months to get mature. Major cotton growing states are Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. Next important non-food crop is jute. Jute is known as golden fiber. Jute grows well on well drained fertile soil in the floodplains where soils are renewed every year. And jute require fertile soil and a very good drainage facility or irrigation facility. So jute require fertile soil and high irrigation, and it grows very well in floodplain areas where the soil get renewed every year due to the settlement remains after the flood is over. It is used for making gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarns, carpet, and other artifacts. Jute is used for manufacturing of gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarn, etc. Due to its high cost and low longevity or low durability, it is losing its market to synthetic fibers or packaging materials like nylon. Major jute growing states are West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha, and Meghalaya. Now we will discuss about some technological and institutional reforms which steps are either already taken or need to be taken in order to increase the agricultural production of India. Sustained use of land without compatible techno-institutional change have hindered the pace of agricultural development. Although almost more than 50% of population of India are engaged in agricultural activity, but its contribution to the gross domestic product or the GDP of India is very low because of use of outdated technology and low technical inputs or low modern inputs. The agricultural products are not up to the mark. Although most of its population are involved in agriculture, but the share of agriculture to the economy of India is very low. In spite of development of sources of irrigation, most of the farmers in large part of country still depend upon the monsoon and natural fertility in order to carry their agriculture. Although there are various techniques developed in the field of irrigation, but still most of the farmer of India depends upon the monsoon, which is the natural source of irrigation. And despite of development of various fertilizer and all, still farmer depend upon the natural fertility of the soil only, and because of dependence on the traditional sources of irrigation and natural fertility of soil, the agricultural output is very low. And one of the reason behind depending upon the monsoon and the natural fertility of the soil might be the lack of capital in the hand of farmer. Many farmer belongs to the rural India, and most of them are poor, and because of their poverty, because of their lack of affordability, they generally depend on the monsoon and the natural fertility of the soil, and that results in low agricultural productivity. For a growing population, this poses a serious challenge as the population is rising in a rapid speed and the agricultural production is failed to keep pace with the rising population. It will create a severe problem in near future because the supply is not keeping pace with the demand, the rising demand of people. In order to solve all these problems, there are several steps taken by the government like collectivization, consolidation of holding, cooperation and abolition of jamindari, etc. Collectivization means where a mass of farmer or mass of landowner come together and merge their land, and they produce collectively on that land and then divide the product. That is called collectivization. By collectivization we can use more technique. For example, we use tractor in the field of agriculture. But if the land holding size will be too small, we cannot operate a tractor in that land. And in such case, if we merge our farmland with the neighbor farmland and remove the land barriers, then we can easily operate a tractor in the large patch of land. And we can divide the output according to our land contribution. Then consolidation of land holding means that in our constitution there is a right called right to property or right to inheritance. Means you will get equal share of your parents' property along with your siblings. And in that way, what happened that if a farmer has 2 acres of land and he has two sons, then each son of his will get one acre. And in that way, in near future, the land holding size reduced to very small, which disable the farmer to use more techniques. So, consolidation of holdings means stopping that inheritance into uneconomical sizes, and by abolition of zamindari system and other various important institutional reforms were also made by the government to increase the agriculture. Land reform was the main focus of our 5-year plan. As we discussed right now, that the right of inheritance had already led to fragmentation of land holdings, necessitating the consolidation of holding. And because of the right to inheritance, we already reduced our agricultural land into so uneconomical size that consolidation of land holding means stopping the right of inheritance is much necessary at this hour. Otherwise, we will not have any economical agricultural land in our hand. The land will be so small in near future that we can hardly cultivate the land. The laws of land reform were enacted, but the implementation was lacking or lukewarm. Although these reforms are shown in paperwork, but their implementation is not still very strict. The government of India embarked upon introduction of agricultural reforms to improve Indian agriculture in 1960s and 1970s. Then in 1960s there was introduction of green revolution. You have read about green revolution since your class 8th, and green revolution was very revolutionary in the field of agriculture. It boosts the agricultural production of India, but it has its own drawbacks, like it also leads to environmental degradation and environmental pollution because of high irrigation, high use of chemical fertilizers, etc. Second, the Green Revolution only successful in the field of the production of wheat, rice, and maize. And the third limitation is the success of Green Revolution remained confined to Punjab and Haryana like states only. Then there was introduction of white revolution, which is also called Operation Flood, which was introduced to boost the production of dairy or the milk. Therefore, in 1980s and 1990s, a comprehensive land development program was initiated which included both institutional and technical reform. We need both institutional as well as technical reform to boost our agricultural production. We cannot boost it by only technical reform or by only institutional reform. If we focus on both institutional and technical reform, then only we can boost the agricultural sector of India. And some institutional reforms are also includes the facility of crop insurance. If a farmer insure his crop and it get damaged due to any natural calamities like drought, flood, cyclone, fire, etc., then he will get an assured amount. So crop insurance is very much necessary. But again, many farmers do not insure their crop because of their poverty, because they do not have capital to insure their crop. Establishment of Grameen Bank, cooperative societies, etc. also boost the loan facility for the poor farmer with a very low rate of interest, which is also a positive institutional reform to boost the agricultural production of India. Along with that, the introduction of KCC, that is Kisan Credit Card, Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, that is PAIS, are some other institutional reform which are taken by the Indian government in order to support the farmer, in order to boost the agricultural products. Also, there are some other steps taken by the government of India, like special weather bulletins were introduced, where in the end of the news the weather forecast are shown, so that farmer will get a clear idea about the onset time of monsoon or any sudden coming of cyclone and all, and they can protect their crop. So special weather bulletins and agricultural programs which comes in TVs and radios are also a very important step taken by the government. Next important reform is the declaration of MSP, that is minimum support price. Minimum support price is a price which is declared by the government before sowing of any crop. Like there is a separate MSP for potato, separate MSP for wheat, separate MSP for pulses. So it is declared by the government before the sowing season, so that a farmer can decide whether to cultivate that crop or to cultivate something else. And MSP protect the farmer in a way that is minimum support price, means no consumer can bargain a price below MSP. That means the farmer remain assured that my crop is going to be get at least this amount of rate in the market, and keeping that in mind he decide whether to cultivate a crop or not. So MSP is very much important for the farmers. By implementing MSP, the government indirectly remove the middleman or the exploiter who purchase the crops from the farmer in a low price and sell them in the market in a high price and make huge profit. By declaring MSP, the government indirectly remove all those middlemen and the profit directly goes to the hand of farmers. That's all about this video. Thank you.